What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday evening. It's your boy SAJ. I don't know if I've used this one before, but I'm gonna go ahead and use it tonight just because I went by there recently and was sad. I'm coming to you live from the Extreme PETA Studios on Stone Oak Park.
Very nice. That's a good. I don't think you have used that one before.
Mm, some of the best pitas I've ever had in my entire life. When they were around, we got hooked on them and literally would go every Sunday. Well, not every Sunday, but almost every Sunday after church. Just
Very
so,
nice.
so good.
Very nice. What is up? I am BD, and you know what? Today I'm gonna come at you. I'm gonna be coming at you from the Chiefs three-peat studios because that's not a thing anymore.
Oh, oh. I should have come from the two-time Green Bay Packers three-peat studios. But that's not true
Nobody ca-
because
nobody cares about
we
leagues that aren't around anymore. And I'm talking to you, Green
no,
Bay, and I'm talking to you, Birmingham. Just shut up. Nobody cares.
yeah. Birmingham definitely should get it. Green Bay was always part of the NFL. It's always been the NFL, right? Or was it NFC? I'd have to go back and look. Anyways, Green Bay
It was
did
it was
repeat,
NFL before AFL merger, so while
right.
still technically the same league, it wasn't the same league.
Hmm.
It was like the
Um,
NBA before the ABA teams joined.
right. And so Green Bay did three-peat in the original NFL. However, they did not three-peat in the NFL and then the NFL merger. They won the last well, I guess it would be the NFC championship. And then when they merged, then Green Bay won Super Bowl one and two. But that's still not back to back because it was two different leagues.
Yep.
And so, me being a diehard Packers fan, I mean, you guys know I love the Packers. I'm wearing green and gold right now. But even I'm smart enough to admit, hey, it doesn't really count. So, you
Doesn't count.
know, you're not going to hear a whole bunch of true blue Green Bay Packers fans talking about how great the Green Bay Packers were back in the 1940s and 1960s, right? Because half of them probably aren't even alive then. So, anyways, we have got a lot to talk about, um, or maybe not a lot to talk about with the Chiefs in tonight's segment of what went wrong. No, we're not. We're not doing a what went wrong segment, although that would be pretty good.
I mean,
Maybe good ideas.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh my gosh, here we go already.
kick the
So
scammers.
yeah. Anyways, so a lot going on. BD, why don't you kind of walk us through? Uh, I mean, what were your expectations? Obviously, I picked the Eagles. You picked the Chiefs. We both
Yeah.
picked a close game. It did not
Yeah,
turn out to
we
be
both
that way.
picked around a 20 point game, kind of, but yeah, close within, a score. And I mean, honestly, Philly just came out to play. I mean, they had a fantastic defensive game plan. Mahomes, he had no time for a three-step drop. I mean, he was getting harassed all game long. There was, they were the corners, they were pressing the receiver, so he couldn't even get out any quick screen passes or anything. It was a rough day for him. And you could tell he was kind of starting to get frustrated. He didn't have any chance to really do any make any long pass attempts. I mean, except when the Phillies punt team was out there on defense. But I think the one time he tried to go for a long pass, he ended up getting sack fumbled, and he just yeah, he ended up with, what was it, 250 yards, and but I think a lot of those yards came in garbage time, especially on that one like 50-yard pass, touchdown pass. I really, for the most part of the game, he was just kept in check, and it's hard to do for that team. But Eagles, they had a hell of a the defensive game plan, and you would ask me if Casey was able to hold Saquon to just over 2 yards a carry and just over 50 yards, I would have told you they would have won the game. Um, it just, I guess all the turnovers that the Chiefs had, Green Bay did, or Philly didn't have to uh, go far to score, so they didn't have a whole lot of yards. But you don't need a whole lot of yards when you're starting inside your 30-yard line.
I mean, you're definitely not wrong. I caught bits and pieces of it because I had to run kids over to a Super Bowl party, and we're in the middle of cleaning the house and stuff, and so I caught like the first part of it. Sad, but I completely missed the entire halftime show. Really, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but was kind of looking forward to it mainly for the commercials. But it sounds like I missed, some a pretty good diss track and some implications with all that and everything. But I definitely watched the second half of it, and when I turned it on at the time, it was what Philly was up by what 14-24, right?
Yeah,
It was
yeah. I mean, they were
24
up
nothing.
24-0 at halftime, and it just,
Yeah. And I mean, it was insane. It was like, wait, what what the hell happened here, right? Because
yeah,
I knew the Eagles went up by 7 in the first quarter, and I thought, okay, well, it's going to be a close game. Things are going to get tight. Did not expect that second quarter blowout to kind of happen the way that it did. I mean, 17 unanswered points was absolutely unheard of. And for them to go that crazy in just the first half, it was like, holy crap. So, again, when I turned it back on in the second half, and I saw that score, I was like, there is no way, dude. What game am I watching here? So, uh, you kind of already covered it, right? Uh, Kansas City had no answer for that defense, but they also had no answer for that high-powered offense of Philadelphia. A lot of people thought that, it was going to, the game was going to reside on Saquon Barkley. And I'm sure the Chiefs probably thought that also. And so their defensive scheme was to take him out of the game, which they did a pretty good job doing that, right? I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due. But the problem is they didn't make up or they didn't think about you know, any of the receivers that Hurts has or Hurts himself, what he
yeah.
could possibly do.
I mean,
And
hell,
I
like you
mean,
said, he
hell,
had 72 yards rushing. Like there were plenty of times he just took off, and you know, KC just didn't have a spy on him, or they were too focused on not letting Saquon run the ball. They were just, yeah, Hurts, he's not going to run. And I mean, 11 rushes for 72 yards is by your quarterback is, and
that's a
only,
lot.
and I think only one of those was the brotherly shove, which was like a 1 yard touchdown. So, other than that,
Yeah,
you had 10 carries for 70 yards.
yeah. I mean, it was just absolutely insane. So not the way we thought this was going to go at all. I thought for sure that, the Chiefs defense would be able to handle the Philadelphia offense at least a little bit better than what they did. And I think, in fact, one of the key chief players, specifically that left tackle, was everything he could do to, on the Chiefs offense. Um, he had everything that he could do um, to not get killed out there. And I think he actually came off the field injured. That was the guy that I think popped his right knee and had to come off the field. And I don't remember seeing him come back on. So,
I remember
I
that.
didn't, yeah, I didn't see any updates or anything about the injury, but obviously, I mean, he got a little bit messed up, and he absolutely just could not hold back that high pressured Philly defense line. I mean, it was just bad. So, oh, here we go. Throw
Yeah.
that one up there.
Yep. What is it? I
Yep.
saw. I saw. I mean, I think I shared it to our Horns Forward group. It was the meme of Kelsey yelling at Andy Reid. Is like, what do you mean the bribe checks came from the U.S. Aid Fund?
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, so again, game did not turn out the way that we thought it did. Still an entertaining game for Philadelphia fans, but BD, I've got
And
to ask you.
Philadelphia fans and really most of America, I think you heard it. You heard it in this. I mean, just in the stadium, and I mean, you just see post and all that stuff, and I think most people wanted the Eagles to win. Um, they didn't want the Chiefs three-peat. They were tired of seeing Kelsey. They're tired of seeing the Kelsey's girlfriend. They're tired of seeing all that. So I think most people were rooting for Kansas City to lose.
Yeah, it was definitely. And I'm sorry, I'm on a little bit of a delay here because I'm trying to share to, every single page that we're on. You would think that somebody would invent something that would allow you to be able to hit one button and just share it to all of your feeds, but I don't know about it. So, um, BD,
Because
you
it's
wanna you
Philly.
wanna
I mean, but really, how can you tell that it was destroyed after the game? I think Philly just looks like that in general.
wow. And I mean, they're a rival of yours. You've got history against that team. So you being a Cowboys fan, I mean, how do you feel about um, you know, the Philadelphia Eagles winning the Super Bowl?
I mean, obviously, I wanted Philly to lose because, like I said, I'm a Cowboys fan. I hate the Eagles. I have you know, my moral obligation for Cowboys versus Eagles or anytime or rooting is I will not root for the Eagles unless it helps the Cowboys. So I did not root for the Eagles in the Super Bowl. But again, it's just it goes to what we've been saying for as long as we've had this show and as long as I've been a Cowboys fan. Um, you see teams do things the right way, and then you see the Cowboys do things their way. And, this is Philly's second Super Bowl that they've played in 3 years. And then they had obviously their Super Bowl win.
In the
What was it?
2000s, I think it was.
Yeah, 8, 10 years ago, whatever. Um, so and I mean, Cowboys haven't even played in a conference championship. So again, you see teams do things the right way, and Cowboys are not doing things the right way. Case in point, no conference championships.
True, true. Um, so okay, Philadelphia, new champs. Um, Obviously there's going to be some movement going on now that we're into the off season, and players now kind of have that prestige of being Super Bowl champions, and the free agency sharks are going to be coming around pretty soon. So let's talk about that in a little bit though, because I want to address the most important thing. The reason why everybody watches the Super Bowl is for the commercials and for the halftime show. So let's talk about that because again, as I said, I missed out on it. I did not get to see the all the craziness that was the halftime show. So talk to me about it, Brian. What happened? What was going on? What was your impression of everything?
So you know what I'm gonna preface this saying I'm not a big rap fan. Early early '90s rap I love, but that's kind of about it.
Mhm.
I watched the show. It's not my style of music, but for what it was, I was entertained by it, and really that's all I can expect. Like I don't, I know the band, my favorite bands are never going to be in the halftime show. I'm never going to see Less Than Jake, Five Iron Frenzy, Rise Against, or any of those bands play halftime. So you know, I'm just going to take with what we can get here. And it was an entertaining halftime show. Put on a great show. I love that he doesn't use like auto tune and stuff. You can tell when artists do that. It's just I hate it. So
Yeah,
it was a cool wow. Wow. Just say That's rude.
Oh my gosh.
That is rude.
Yeah.
But you know, I liked it. I liked it for what it was. As much as I can for not being a big fan of the music. You know.
Yeah. In Sabrina's defense, she was born in 85, so she missed out on all the good music. She had things like the Backstreet Boys and whatever frosted tip hair nonsense, that generation grew up with. She knows nothing about music, other than maybe Rammstein, which is still a product of our generation. So,
God, I hate
deal with it.
Ramstein. I really hate Ramstein so much.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
because Kiss would always play the hell out of them, and probably they
Well,
still do.
oh, I'm sure they do, right? They've got three songs on
Dude,
on
Kiss
repeat
Kiss
all
hasn't
lifetime.
played a new song in 25 years. I don't think.
25?
Well, I mean, I think so, there were some Ramstein songs that came out around then, so those were the new
You
ones.
you can still hear War Pigs on your drive into work every morning. Okay. That's how behind the times,
Yeah.
Kiss is.
I mean,
Anyways, local
Disturbed,
radio
Disturbed, and
station.
Stained. Those came out in like early 2000s, so Kiss will play those. So that's why I say, yeah,
Yeah.
it's been 25 years since they played a new song.
Yes.
You
Dang.
know what?
What's
That would
wrong?
be that would be an entertaining as hell halftime show. So
What's wrong with that? You
not
know?
not a thing, not a thing.
Hey, speaking of which, I actually heard Rick Astley cover some Morrissey songs, and you would be amazed how good it actually sounded. He had Gin Blossoms as his backup band. Phenomenal, phenomenal
Really,
shit.
I might have to
Yeah.
check that. I might have to check that out.
If you're into the moody late 80s, early 90s, pre emo music. So, and again, don't listen to her, she's still listening to Wheels on the Bus. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter. Anyways, um, so I will say again, I didn't see the show. Okay. Don't know really much anything about it. I did see some clips. I did specifically see the clip where there was the shot at, was it Drake?
yeah.
Um, and
Which
obviously, so
which
there's some,
it's been a thing with those two forever. He
yeah,
uh Kendrick started. I think he started it with a diss track and all that stuff, and it's just been back and forth. So I think everybody was
speaking
kind
of,
of waiting for it, and is he gonna say it? Is he gonna?
yeah,
And he
speaking
kind
of,
of
yeah, speaking of diss tracks and waiting for people to say it, there it is.
uh,
There it is. You want to get it out of your system now, Jeremy, or, what do we want to do here? Because,
I've already
we
said
got,
all I'm gonna say about your team, so you're gonna have to rewatch the first part of the show to hear that. So I'm done. I'm done talking about that team from the city of non-brotherly love.
yeah. I was just going to tell you that you had a
There it
little bit of
is.
the buffering there. I don't know if it was me or if it was you. I
Oh,
think
I don't know.
both got issues going on.
Who knows?
Yeah,
We'll
because
see.
I just got the
Uh, but
lost connection reconnecting.
oh, I didn't get that. It may be you. Who knows? It may be me.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, Jeremy, if you're gonna say go birds, there's like 1,000 different species of birds. You might want to specify
I
which one.
did. But
So,
so, anyways, am,
are you
am I
there?
still on?
Yeah, you're here. I got you.
Yeah, am I still on or no? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I
because
got
now
you.
I
You're
just got
here.
a message that my microphone disappeared and then it came back on. Okay. Um, and I appreciate that, you know. Uh and Jorge, I mean, isn't that kind of the pot calling the kettle black, trading in the green and gold for the purple and horns? I'm just saying.
I mean,
So,
there's pictures to prove it.
or is it the Patriot logo now? So, like, where is he nowadays? Anyways, um, yeah, no, I'm saving my chicken obsession for the St. Louis Battle Chickens. So, and we'll be talking about them in a little bit too. Anyway, so halftime show, pretty good, right? I've heard some rumors that there were some, subliminal messages that were going on in there. I did think it was kind of cool. Again, not having seen it, seeing the clips afterwards, that Serena Williams came out and she was doing the crip walk, right? I've always kind of been partial to that. So that was cool to
Well,
see.
you know why she
So
came out, right?
I have no idea, dude. I
So
don't know.
she came out and did that because she is one of Drake's exes.
Oh,
Yeah. So
oh,
once again, it was I mean,
Bash on Drake Day.
it was pure pettiness, but I'm here for it. So
Hey man, like you gotta, those are the intangibles that make a halftime show really good,
exactly, and
right?
I thought it was cool having Samuel L. Jackson dressing up as Uncle Sam, and you know, I'm actually just surprised we didn't get a mother effer from Samuel L. Jackson. I'm a little disappointed actually because I
Well,
think that's the first time
was
I've
he
ever seen him say anything without cursing.
he was mic'd up and he didn't curse?
Yeah, exactly.
That's insane. Rig, please do. I still trying to work it out. I don't know that I'm going to because of the rally that the Banditos are throwing up in Arlington. I'm probably going to wind up there. If that wasn't happening, though, I would be there to support the Houston Roughnecks as they whoop up on the St. Louis Blue Battle Chickens. That's how deep my resentment is towards them.
And
Uh,
Jeremy, oh,
you
Jeremy,
go ahead.
you are correct. She is. Uh, are you what?
What are you doing? That one, right
Yes,
there.
yes. So yeah, yes, she is. But I think Kendrick, he's collaborated with her before on a bunch of songs, so that wasn't as much of a shock. But I mean, there was no reason to have Serena Williams come on stage other than being petty, which is fantastic. So
Yeah, but that's again, right? That's part of that draw of the whole halftime show. Um, so I do feel like I kind of missed out a little bit. There's been a couple of halftime shows where obviously I have not cared at all. I was definitely interested when it was, Dre and Eminem, and then 75 Cent was hanging from those
bro,
things.
he was a full on buck 50. All right.
You think?
Oh yeah.
You
Oh
think?
yeah.
Inflation did him well, or maybe not so well. Yeah, he was big, and he's probably still pretty big. You know, it was just hilarious. Um, what's Oh, yes. Yes, you guys definitely. I cannot wait for you guys to come down in April. Hopefully, it won't be too terribly miserably hot. April is when things really start kind of warming up here, and the humidity level shoots up to about 1,000%. But we're looking forward to seeing you guys down here, man. Um, and Jorge, yeah, I mean, there's, what's in your wallet, or, I'm thinking of the Dave Chappelle skit where he did the beer commercial as Samuel Jackson. But we
I
can't say those words. We can't say those
I
words.
quote that commercial often.
Oh, such a good one. I almost feel like playing it now. Anyways,
Bitch.
so oh my gosh, Brian's gonna get us kicked off the air. Anyways, what was your most favorite commercial?
So my favorite commercial, I had a few that I liked. So I wouldn't say. I think probably my favorite that I enjoyed the most, laughed at the most, was the Michelob Ultra one with William Defoe and Catherine O'Hare when they were like the pickleball sharks. They were competing with everybody in pickleball for Michelob Ultras, and they were just winning every match and stuff. I thought that was a hilarious commercial. Um, I liked the Ritz one with Aubrey Plaza and Michael Shannon. Anything with Aubrey Plaza, I like. The Stella Artois one with David Beckham and his long lost brother, Dave Beckham, which is played by Matt Damon. I thought that one was
I
funny.
saw that one.
Yeah, I like that one. I like the Dunk Kings one with the Duncan one with Ben Affleck and his crew and stuff. That one was played earlier, so you probably missed that one. And then
Yeah.
there was a Doritos like an alien abduction one that was pretty funny. I like that.
I
Um,
saw that one too, where the alien got squashed in the door.
no, that was the Totino's alien one.
Oh,
This
okay.
other one, it was like, yeah, the guy was like sitting, and the aliens were trying to abduct him, and he's trying to get away, but they're actually just trying to get his bag of chips and stuff. So it was
Oh,
pretty funny. I'll tell you the absolute ones that are the two that I hated and were the creepiest and weirdest ones were the freaking Tubi ones with that kid with like the cowboy, the skinned cowboy hat, and
oh, yeah.
and the Mountain Dew seal commercial where seal was an actual seal. It was one of the creepiest things I've seen. So yeah, those they just need to delete those commercials out of existence. I never want to see those commercials again.
So I don't know that I think it was necessarily the creepiest one. I just felt bad that Seals at this point in his career where he's selling, this diamond of a song that, defined a generation, and it's a Mountain Dew commercial. That was just like, Seal, you used to be like the pinnacle
Yeah,
of artistry, and everybody swooned for you. And now you're hawking your song for, Mountain Dew's, six packs probably. It was just like, oh,
no, that one
you know,
that commercial was weird. I didn't like it. Uh, I like I heard something about the Kanye commercial. I didn't see it. I heard stuff about it, but I don't know. I haven't gone back to watch it. And I'll tell you which one. I do like some of the serious, kind of sappy commercials and stuff. Um, Hold on, I said
oh,
serious, and Siri thought I was talking to her. Um, I like the one with the pony Clydesdale, the Budweiser one with the Clydesdale, and it had the young Clydesdale that was got told, hey, you're not old enough to be on run the cart yet and stuff, so it was staying in the pen, and a cake fell off and it pushed it all the way to the bar. I thought that one was kind of cool. I've always liked the Clydesdale commercials and stuff. I thought the Harrison Ford Jeep commercial was pretty cool. Um, I liked the it was the Nike one with all the female athletes and stuff. Uh, it says I forget what the the tagline was, but I think it was like I can't win, so win or something like that. But just I thought the commercial was pretty cool. So there were a lot that that I liked, and some that were that was okay, and really only those two that I really just did not like at all.
yeah. So again, I mean, I saw some of them, didn't see all of them. I thought the Totino's one was absolutely hilarious. The only thing that would have made it better was them going and taking the Tostinos back from the alien that got squished in the
Yeah,
door
and
and
that
just
one
like
was kind of
eating
one
them
of
and
his.
watching.
There were some lead up commercials to that one. Um, I think what else? Oh, the McConaughey one with the with his whole thing like football being trying to make people hungry during the game. It was kind of the final one for that for Uber Eats. I've enjoyed all those commercials. They were pretty funny.
Some of them were pretty good. Um, Jeremy, I didn't see this one.
I did that one
Um,
was pretty cool. I like that one.
that's good. I mean, it's good to see a big name like McAfee getting out there and supporting, women's sports. Women's sports tends to get kind of pushed back and forgotten about, kind of like our guest who just commented there, and they kind of shouldn't be, right? Like women's soccer, for example. Now, granted, I'm biased. I have two kids that play soccer. Um, but you see a lot more athleticism and sportsmanship and a lot less flopping around and, just a lot harder work on the women's side than you do the men's. I don't understand where all this flopping and everything comes from. It isn't anything new, but I don't know when things changed. So again, I'm all about, seeing, professional athletes support other professional
Yeah.
athletes, especially if it's women professional athletes. Uh, think that that's good for the sport or for all the sports across the industry. Um,
And
but check
Ed,
it.
to your comment here, Clydesdales are the only good thing about St. Louis. So
Well, it certainly isn't their beer, I promise you.
no, no,
So
especially not
once they,
Budweiser.
yeah, it never was great, but then once they sold out to you know, InBev, done. So, but I'm just saying that because I'm kind of a craft beer snob. So, anyways, um, speaking of things being done, so the season is done, right? We know that we've already got our first round of mock drafts, and look at this, right? The comments coming in. Women's sports, man, just good stuff. And I would love to see women's flag football even at the high school level. I would 100% support that because I think young women do deserve that opportunity to pursue their sports goals just like young men do. You know, hell, if they want to throw pads on and tackle, go for it, right? You may not like it, but hey man, let's make it, equal opportunity across the board.
No.
Anyways,
So you well you're
um,
you're you're talking about you're getting into the mock draft so like that. I think before we get into that, let's go with the season awards because we did have
yeah,
the award show. Let's
yeah,
finish
we
up
probably should talk
the
about that.
2024-25 season before we start going to 25-26.
Let's talk about that. So obviously the biggest one, um, and potentially the most controversial one is the MVP,
Yep.
right? Josh Allen won it, and he was up against God dang it, I wish I could remember all
Lamar
the people that
Jackson
he was up against. Lamar Jackson.
was the
There
main
was a couple of other
was the
people.
main guy. I mean, Saquon was up there and stuff like that, but
Right.
it was Josh Allen and Lamar kind of back to back, and it was I forget what the actual total was, but it was a really close vote. Close vote. I want to say
Hmm.
it was Josh got like something like 380 points, and Lamar got like 360 or something. It was a really close vote.
Yeah, we're not even going to post that one. Um, so how do you feel about this? I mean, do you think it's as big a controversy as some people are saying, or do you
I
think that
don't,
that
and
choice was justified?
I think they made the right decision. We talked about it last week. I think Josh Allen deserved the MVP this year. Um, and I mean, it was a tight vote. Lamar Jackson had an excellent case for it, so I'm not surprised at all that it was a very close vote. But I'm glad that Josh Allen won because, like I said, I thought that he deserved it this year.
Yeah, I definitely don't disagree. I know it was a pretty close race, as you said. I do think that it was justified in the fact that, Josh Allen really was kind of the X factor in that team. Now, that's not saying that Lamar Jackson was not, an energizing, you know, positive force for the success that his team saw. But I think Josh Allen just did a little bit more, carried a little bit more weight and a little bit more results. And
And,
that's what put him
I
over
think
the top.
and like you said last week, I think Josh Allen had less help around him than
Mhm.
Lamar Jackson. Like you said, I mean he absolutely carried that team, through the season. Lamar had some help. He had Derrick Henry and all that. So
Mhm.
I'm not saying that Cook is a slouch at running back, but he's no Derrick Henry. So
Right. Right. Well, and I mean, Josh Allen scored, rushed 12 touchdowns, scored 28. I mean, come on, you know, and that's not, again, that's not a knock towards, yeah, what's his name? Totally blanked out there for a second. I'll be okay. Um, but I mean, the knowing that Allen didn't have the necessarily the best offensive line, and he didn't really have the receiving core that could have made a tremendous difference and taken pressure off of him. Um, I mean, Josh Allen, made his case. So I do think that overall was a good choice. One I did want to talk about because we kicked this one around a couple of times too. What are your thoughts on the comeback player of the year?
You know, I from what the league has said they want that award to be, Joe Burrow is probably the right choice because they want it to be a player that comes back from a major injury, stuff like that. I don't like that. I I like it to be, a player who was left out, left, kind of left for dead in the NFL. Was written off and just comes back and has an amazing season. Comes back, to relevance in the league. That's why I thought it should have been, Sam Darnold, and then, like I said, even Damar Hamlin from the Bills. And he obviously he didn't get hurt the year before, but he died on the field, at the very end of the season 2 years ago, and he didn't really have a chance to play that much last year. So I think both of those would have been a better choice than Joe Burrow.
And I don't I don't necessarily I don't really have strong feelings about it like you do. I mean, I think, comeback player of the year uh does kind of encompass somebody who has a season ending injury, because then you have to overcome and go through the therapy and put in the work and rehab yourself to that point where you can play again. And there's never a guarantee that you're ever going to come back where you were, or potentially even better, right?
And
That's even
I get
thinner
that,
odds.
and there's a place for the players who do that in this vote. Um, but I don't think that should be a major requirement almost of the award. Because again, you have Joe Burrow is one of the top quarterbacks in the league when he's fully healthy. He got hurt last year. Well, he rehabs, comes back. Well, his skill level is still one of the top quarterbacks of the league. So, it's like he was already up here. I, I
Yeah.
I would rather that award be catered more to players who were here the year before and then raise their game to up here the next year.
I mean,
Uh,
I don't disagree with that. Um, Arguably, based on passing yardage and passing touchdowns, Joe Burrow was the number one quarterback of the league. Um, so yeah, did did he bounce back um, from an injury? He did. Did he bounce back from like the sophomore slump to become the top quarterback? No, that he didn't. He was overcoming physical limitations, not skill limitations or anything like that. And hey, Robert, um, how's that Super Bowl trophy case looking in Minnesota? I'm just asking. So,
so with
um,
that, you like I said, you have Burrow, so you can have next season with Dak Prescott haven't been injured. He comes back and has a great regular season, which he does. He could be the comeback player of the year next year.
he could.
He's already been it once before. Same thing with Burrow. He's already been it once before where he got injured and he came back because the skill level was already there. I just if
Yep.
there's no other players that were Sam Darnold, Damar Hamlin esque that just really elevated themselves from one year to the next, I'm cool with giving it to a player who is injured. But if you have those other players, I would rather that award go to them.
Yeah. I totally, you have a legitimate argument. I don't disagree. I just think that the player of the year does encompass those players that do come back from physical injury just the same as they come back from, skill limitations, whether it be psychological or, I mean, who knows, right? But moving on, we also have defensive rookie of the year, Jared Verse.
Yeah,
I think that was a pretty good choice. I think, he definitely earned that.
that's
Offensive player of the
that's who
year,
I
Saquon
picked.
Barkley.
So,
Yeah. Saquon Barkley, well deserved. He definitely put in the work for it. Pat Surtain on the defense, player of the year.
which I was actually really
Um,
surprised by that. you know, of all the awards, that one surprised me the most. So
Yeah, I mean,
I picked Trey Henderson to get it. Uh, but I was kind of surprised that a secondary player got it. But hey, that was I mean it was a cool Pat Strahan is a hell of a player, so I well deserved.
yeah. I was glad to see that Jaden Daniels got rookie of the year.
Which
Um,
I think he was pretty much a lock for it. I think that's why they did that award first because it was like nobody's surprised by this.
yeah, but I mean, you never know, right? It's the NFL.
Yeah.
So then coach of the year is the Vikings head coach, and assistant coach is Detroit Lions offensive coordinator. Right. That's kind of rounding out kind of the top candidates there. So again, overall, thought everything was pretty solid. We also talked about the Hall of Fame last week.
Yep.
Um, Players getting into the Hall of Fame. What do you think about that?
So I'm pulling up. I think it was only four that got picked this year, which I was kind of surprised. I figured it was going to be a few more, but
Mhm.
I think everyone who got it is absolutely deserving. Um, uh, I think Eric Allen, he wasn't on my list, but I think he earned it for sure. Jared Allen absolutely deserves to go in. Antonio Gates absolutely, and Sterling Sharp as well. Um, once again, I'm glad that Eli did not make it. As I said last week, Eli Manning should not be a Hall of Fame player. It is the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of Very Good. Uh, During the regular season, Eli Manning wasn't even very good. So his Hall of Fame resume is two Super Bowl games, and you know, I don't think you should deserve to get in the Hall of Fame because of two games, no matter how big they
Yeah.
were.
Yeah. Um, Obviously I'm biased. I'm glad Sterling Sharp got in. I agree with Jorge. It is about time that Sharp got in. Um, I thought it was interesting that it took the amount of time that it did for him to get in and didn't take nearly as long for Shannon to get in. But, you know, different players, different categories. Um, it kind of is what it is. But I was surprised overall that only four people got into the Hall of Fame. You know,
Yeah,
we've definitely seen more go in, and there's some that probably that were on that list that probably should have gotten in this year. Um, kind of a not necessarily. I don't want to say necessarily a snub to them, but it's like, okay, how long are they going to have to wait to get in? Because some of those cats on there, if I remember correctly, have been on there for a while. So you definitely don't want to forget about some of those old school players that helped kind of build the NFL into what it is.
yeah,
So
no, absolutely.
um, so with that being the case, we obviously know it's almost it's essentially NFL is on hiatus now. You're going to see some movement over the next couple of months as we build up towards the mock or to the actual NFL draft. And then you're going to see, kind of, some free agency frenzy in which our two teams are not going to do anything. Well, the
I
Cowboys
was talking
might,
about
but they're going
Cowboys.
to wait.
Cowboys are going to go all in. All right.
They're going to go all in on the last people that are remaining, you know. Um, but with that
I'm
kind
already
of
getting a
being the
headache
case,
thinking about it.
what what positions do the Cowboys need the most help at?
How much longer we got in this show? Um,
Not that long.
no, definitely not that long. Uh, Running back, offensive line. Actually, I would say offensive line before running back. Um, but uh, offensive line, running back. We need some secondary help. Uh, need some more wide receivers after CeeDee Lamb. Um, Absolutely correct, Jorge. But unfortunately, we can't draft those or sign those free agents. But I wish we could. Um, I mean, Our defensive line is pretty good. Uh, Linebackers are okay. Wouldn't mind showing up that a little bit. I think our secondary, and there's been so many injuries in our secondary. We didn't have Dron Bland. He was out. Diggs was out for a good part of the season as well. Um, I had just had a lot of injuries in the secondary, uh, but I think we could shore up some of those positions. Uh, I would say offensive line is number one, especially with we don't know what's going to happen with Zach Martin if he's going to retire or not. But God, they need some help.
Yeah. I don't disagree with your assessment. Not knowing nearly as much about the Cowboys as you do, uh, I could see those being, some key positions where they could really use some assistance there, specifically at the running back position when, you're kind of counting on Uncle Rico to, carry the load.
I will
Prob-
say, as much crap as I gave him all season long, Uncle Rico ended up having a damn good season. I mean, I think he. I don't know if he hit 1,000 yards. I'll have to check real quick, but he had several 100-yard games to kind of end the season with. So you know what uh, he had a fine season for the position that he was kind of put in, and obviously the line that he was running behind. So
you're definitely not wrong. Um, so kind of breaking down just a rough
so
overview.
he did get over 1,000 yards. So 1,079 yards for the season. So you know what? He did. I don't want him as my starting running back still, but he had a fine season uh for 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 last year.
Yeah. Um, so switching over to my team, um, really, it's the same old story. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's kind of been this way for a couple of years now. We need some strong corners, right? We don't know kind of what's going on with like Jair Alexander. There's a couple of other guys that we are potentially on the bubble. Maybe didn't develop the way that we thought that they would. But we need corners bad. Our defensive line, our linebackers are okay. Um, especially if Jair comes back and he's strong, we should be okay there. But we got to get those corners, man. Um, and Jorge's not wrong, but again, you can't
Man,
draft that.
that seems like that's been, I mean, for the last 20 years for you guys.
Well, I mean, we had the 2011 when we won the Super Bowl, right? Which is such a long time ago now. Um, we had some pretty decent, strength and conditioning coaches. We had a pretty decent team. Now what's happened since then, I have no idea. I wish I could tell you. I guess they discovered, the flaming hot Cheetos and
Y'all
the
had Cheeseburger Eddie on your team, and that just everyone else strength and conditioning went to crap.
oh dude, Cheeseburger Eddie was the best, man. I miss Cheeseburger Eddie. Every year he kept getting bigger and every year we just kept getting stronger. Um it'd be hard to tell who's fighting over the cheeseburgers, McCarthy or Cheeseburger Eddie. Anyways,
Is
um,
that, is that why he got released from the team, or they moved on? Just McCarthy didn't want to fight him anymore for it.
probably he was getting too old to fight him for the extra fries in the bag. Um, there's also, just kind of looking at what some of the top sports commentators are saying. Offensive line, I I don't know that we necessarily need any help at offensive line, especially if we keep our free agent Josh Myers. Um, but we definitely need a number one wide receiver. And I think it's important that we talk about this. Our newest addition to the team, Josh Jacobs, our running back, to replace Aaron Jones, flat out called the team out and said, guys, you don't have a number one wide receiver for Jordan Love to throw to. we're not going to go anywhere until you figure out how to fill that void. And he's not wrong, right? We need a number one receiver. Now, I will say this, right? Because we're real big on the conspiracy theories here. Uh Devontae Adams recently posted a picture on X in his green and gold Nikes. Does that mean something? Is Devontae and Rogers, is their relationship over with? Is Devontae coming back home? Well, I guess only time will tell. We're going to find out. It would not be a bad idea. It would not be a good idea for Devontae to be the number one receiver. He's still got some gas in the tank, but for how much longer? And how
Yeah.
effective is he actually going to be? Right? Can he build that chemistry with Jordan Love? I don't know that it's going to turn out like a Rodgers and Adams situation again, right? So he could be a really solid number two. He could be that veteran force that we need in the locker room. Because again, Packers are like what, the second or third youngest team in the NFL right now. So we could benefit from some of that veteran leadership. But I don't think he'd come in and be the number one guy.
No,
Um,
and I mean he's what 33 years old now. 32. He'll be 30, he'll be 33 at the end of the year.
he's
And
getting
I
up
mean
there.
it is. I mean that's you're on the downside of your career at that point.
Hmm.
Not as fast as you used to be. And so yeah, I would definitely not want to bring him on as a number one receiver. You know, number two, number three, absolutely, but not
Yeah.
yeah, not for number one.
Yep. Now, I will also say, because again, we're super big on the conspiracy theories. Obviously, it's well known that Rodgers was brought in, and it looks like the Jets are potentially going to be moving on from him this year. Okay. So, step number two of my prediction has come to fruition. Does he sign with Minnesota and finish out his career there, like I've been talking about from the very beginning? Okay. So, you heard it here first. If it does happen, I'm freaking Nostradamus. I predicted it. So
Nostradamus, what?
that too. Um, so now that we've kind of covered some of the needs that our teams have, let's go ahead and look at one of the mock drafts, um, and kind of see where the experts are predicting our teams to land. So over on NFL.com, you can look at, there's probably about like six or seven different, two, three, four, five, yeah, six different predictions. Um, I, I called it, Jeremy. I'm telling you, I'm right. Watch and see. He's the reincarnation of Brett Favre in the
He
football
wants to
world.
be Brett
Because
Favre so bad.
I guess the only thing, well, I guess we'll find out next year if he sent any of those special
Yeah.
picks to anybody in New York. So, see, we were just talking about it. We were just talking about it. Anyways, okay. So looking forward to the mock draft at pick number 12. Who is this that is picking on these? The Reuters draft 1.0 has the Dallas Cowboys at number 12 picking
Taking a running
Ted
back. Or sorry,
Ted,
taking a wide
Ted
receiver, I'm sorry, from Arizona.
yeah, yeah, McMillan at wide receiver. Probably not a bad choice, but would it be, considering there's other, positions out there that are definitely needed, is that a great fit for the first round pick?
I first round, unless freaking Ashton Genty like drops or something, I would rather the Cowboys pick an offensive lineman uh, with their first round pick. Um, I don't
No.
even want to think about that. No.
Yeah, that's not going to happen because he's already been predicted to go to Green Bay. So you've got that marked down too. Although I don't think that's going to happen either. Oh, ooh, Parsons
No.
trade? Nah,
No,
not
it's
going to
not going
happen
to
either.
happen. I
No, they'd rather ruin his career.
I think this is how the Cowboys trade talks with Parsons are going to go. Do we want to trade Parsons? Absolutely not. Okay, cool. We're done. That's it.
Cool. Cool. How about Uncle Rico? We'll send him somewhere.
We'll send him somewhere. Absolutely.
Yep.
But no,
And
I'd
then
rather.
meanwhile,
Yeah, I
you'll keep
said. I mean, like I
Prescott.
said, unless one of the top position players uh, is available, I stick with your line, bolstering that line in the first round. There's I one of the mock drafts I saw had the Cowboys picking a running back in the fifth round with Nick Singleton from Penn State. I'd like that. I'm actually, watching him. Uh, I wouldn't mind that pick. He was a pretty good running back. Uh, but I just think there's way more positions that are needed before we start talking about wide receiver.
Well, this might excite you. Cynthia Freeland, NFL analyst, does have Genty going to the Cowboys at number 12. I don't know that he's going to fall that far
I mean,
down, but if he
if he falls
does,
that far, then hell yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, 100% agree. Meanwhile, at the 215th pick, the 23rd pick, Green Bay is projected to pick Williams, who's an edge rusher out of Georgia. Not bad, not exactly what we need, but I could see the use for that position. So not a horrible pick. Our friend Cynthia, she's got defensive tackle Nolan coming out of Mississippi as our pick. Probably not a bad fit either. Oh, dang. I didn't even see that.
I ignored it.
Okay, I would too. Um, and then moving into the second round, we've got Dallas going at where is your Dallas pick? At 44, you're getting Hampton, the running back out of North Carolina.
So she's got us
Now
picking
I
two running. Is this that same chick?
no, it's the first guy.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um Yeah, and then we're picking at the 54th pick, we're picking a cornerback out of East Carolina. I really don't think, considering that's the position that we've been struggling with so badly, that we're going to uh wait that long to get a cornerback. I think we're going probably cornerback in the first round. And Nolan, you know, probably not a bad choice. Now, our friend Cynthia Freeland, she didn't even pick a second round, so her post is automatically eliminated now. Kidding, I'm kidding. I mean, these are people that do this for a living, but it's all speculation. Um, but based on these picks, going into the third round, we're looking at potentially where is Cowboys. Cowboys picking up defensive tackle TJ Sanders out of South Carolina. And then Green Bay is picking a defensive tackle, Omar Norman Lott, out of Tennessee. Um, it looks like you guys potentially would be focusing on offense. We'd be focusing a little more on defense. If that kind of holds true, what does that look like for you guys in the free agency? Are you going to try and address some of those needs there? Um, what are you thinking that the team would
You
do
know,
based on these picks?
just based on the historical data that I know, I've got no confidence at all that free agency the Cowboys are going to pick the holes that are needed. So I don't know.
Yeah. Uh, uh
I will say just kind of
and
skimming through
and you're not.
these mock drafts. So there's six of the mock drafts, the 3 round ones. Three of those guys
Mhm.
uh, have the Cowboys picking Genty as a first round pick. So I'm hoping he falls. If he
Yeah.
falls to 12, I would be ecstatic.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm seeing like in two of them, Genty's gone within the top
Yeah.
5 or 6 picks. So I don't know that he's going to fall. Maybe the Cowboys can trade up, right? Uh, what is Jeremy saying here? Um, Sunshade, nice. Okay.
I will
Um,
say so. So talking
uh,
about kind of what the teams need, and I read this earlier today, and this kind of goes in line. We talked, Aaron Rodgers back when he had his darkness retreats and all that stuff. Apparently, Dak Prescott is an alcoholic because he gave an interview and said that he thought the Cowboys were very close to winning a Super Bowl, talent wise.
th- th- does that indicate alcoholic or maybe a drug
Either one. I
addict?
mean, he's
Just
he's
these are
got
jokes.
he's
These are jokes,
obviously got some
folks. Don't.
substance abuse issues or something, or just something is messing with his mind because ain't no way you can look at how the roster was, what was going on, and I think we lost Jay, but think that the Cowboys are anywhere close to being a Super Bowl contender right now. So I thought that was just you leaving the show for the day.
Yeah, I was done.
I'm
I'm
done.
just cashed out. No, it's my wonderful internet that when it's working, it works great. Kind of like the Cowboys. And when it doesn't, it absolutely falls apart.
I mean, we haven't
They
worked great in what are we at? 27 years now? 28 years?
well, I
So
am on dial-up. So anyways, um, I do think that the Cowboys have a potential to fare better in the draft than the Packers do. I don't know that we're gonna be able to address every single need that we have. And we know that Green Bay is not a free agency team. We develop from within. So that kind of being the case, are we actually going to develop? I don't know. Uh, you know, the whole team is really focused on kind of finding those diamonds in the rough and developing them. And I'm hopeful that we have the players to make that happen. But I don't know. Uh, wow, wow. And Jeremy is betting the farm on Walter Nolan being a Packer. I mean, it's not going to necessarily be a bad addition, but it's not really what we need, right? We need some killer fast cornerbacks. We need a guy that we can develop into a number one wide receiver. And I don't, with the injuries that Christian Watson has had, and our realistically our closest thing to a number one is a tight end. I don't think that we've got what we need. And I don't know that we're going to address it necessarily in the draft either, because I mean, most of the good wide receivers are going to be picked first, and I would not spend the draft capital on getting a wide receiver in the first round, anyways, when we need defense more than we need offense. So I don't know. I guess we'll just
I
have to
mean, you
wait
did
and
say the
see.
team needed a number one wide receiver, and you're not going to find a number one wide receiver in the second, third round. So
True, true. So I mean, it's an interesting, paradox that we're kind of in, right? What do you spend your draft capital on?
yeah.
What is your absolute biggest need? And I think that's that's hurtful, Jeremy. That's hurtful, and I'm gonna remember that when I see you. Speaking of hurtful, there's our other Packers fan, right? So, and I don't know, honestly, how the hell do we wind up in South Texas with three Packers fans on the show? And then an Eaglet and two Cowboys fans, and then the rest of the group here, and then all the
Yeah.
spam comments, of course. Um, so we did not get to like half of what we were going to talk about. Um,
But I mean, really,
I think,
there's not much for arena. I mean, UFL don't really have any. I mean, the only thing we have for UFL is a little, little teaser for the Horns Forward podcast. Check us out Monday. We got as Jackie said, we got some cheese, man.
well, there is that one thing that we could probably talk about. And let me see if I can bring this up and show it. Um how the hell do you rewind one of these things? Um but okay. Let me share my screen, right? And this is 100% shout out to Jackie and her artistic, perfection. But check this out and just let us know what you kind of think is going on here. What could that
Very,
possibly mean?
very nice work, Jackie, as always.
That is probably uh I mean that's some incredible work. I don't want to say it's necessarily her best work, because all of her stuff is really good. And it just seems to be getting better and better every time she puts something together. Just like all the fan merchandise she put together on the Horns Forward podcast merchandise shop. She helped us out with a lot of stuff in everything really, let's be honest. In the Texans Talking Football fan shop that we haven't even shared with anybody yet because
I'll say, yeah, we
we're
haven't even talked
special.
about that yet.
Yeah. Oh, and Jackie, I do apologize. Forgot to hit the mute button to turn it off and get the sound actually going because I'm special, right? I couldn't find the pause button on the VCR, as Jeremy was saying. Um, but and Jackie's right. You want to you or well KJ is right that you want to check out the fan shop. The AFN merch is excellent stuff. And Jackie giving us a shout out about Texas Talking Football merchandise, as she should, because she's the one who developed it all,
Yeah.
right? So she should be
So,
showing off her artistic talents.
so what? What if you want some Texans talking football merch, you can go over to the Horns Forward podcast merch shop, and there's a group of different collections you can choose from. There's the
Mhm.
Bulls on tour. There's the obviously the Horns Forward. There's Vamos Brahmas and Texas Talking Football. We have some merch in there as well. So we'll share the link on our page. But yeah, you go over there. You can get all the merch from from your favorite podcasts, and it's fantastic. Jackie, she put a ton of work into it, and it all looks amazing. So thank you, Jackie, very much.
Exactly.
Fantastic. And there, she put
It's
it in
even
the
in the
chat.
chat now.
There you go.
Yep. So again, that little teaser video, stay tuned. Next Monday, you're going to find out what that cryptic video meant. Because as Jackie said, we've got the cheese man, right? And I've got the tea right here. Um, so we will be taking the next couple of weeks off. First of all, just to rest up for the upcoming UFL season. Second of all, to let the UFL season kind of catch up to us so we actually have some news to talk about. Because right now we've got a list of about what, 60 something, 70 something names, and we have no idea who's going to be the permanent name on the roster yet, other than Wade Phillips, right?
No.
So we need some time for these other leagues to really kick it in gear and start getting going. Um, and Chris is right that we are going to get beat by the Chonkla for messing around, and Jackie has Chonklas in the fan shop there, and I know she can throw them at least 35, 40 yards. Saw that firsthand. So you guys remember, don't be messing around with Jackie because she'll clip you. I promise you. But anyways, right. Tune in on Monday. Horns Forward podcast family will be all together, hopefully, depending on a couple of people's schedules. Uh, but we should be all together, and we should start gearing up towards the UFL season. We've got that big announcement on Monday that we will share at some point. And Jeremy's saying something about a video that went out in the league today. Um, and but didn't that video also go out and get taken down and then went back up and then something else happened to it and whatever? And so I don't even know what's going on with all that. So I'm not going to touch any of that.
But it was a pretty cool hype video that the league put out. So
I will say I loved seeing the UFL commercial in the Super Bowl when it was
yeah,
like, oh man, football's over for 7 months. No, it's not, right?
exactly.
UFL
Yeah,
is up next, right? And it's not like you're substituting, a minor league product to kind of give you that fake fix until the NFL comes back around. I mean, we're talking about quality quality football, right? These are the next, superstars of the NFL potentially, grinding it out getting better, sharpening their skills so they can make a run at, the big league, if you will. Anyways, oh wow. Look at that. Boom. Yep. She'll mess you up with that chocolate. Anyways, so guys, again, we're going to take a break. We will still continue to post on all of our social media
Yeah.
whenever we remember to. But first and foremost, thank you to all of you guys for supporting us and sponsoring us. This is episode 97 in the books. This is two and a half, well, give or take about 2.5 years in the making to get to this point, right? Two more episodes, and then we'll be having the big 100th episode. And again, we're trying to plan something big, maybe get some kind of huge interactive, who knows, thing going on. There's technical words that we're using that I have no idea what they mean. So just be on the lookout for something big, hopefully, for 100th episode, which should be right around the week right before opening weekend for the
Yep.
UFL. Want to give out a shout out, obviously, to our sponsor, W Energy Drink. We thank you for all your support. If you guys are interested in getting energy drinks and any kind of things like that don't give you the caffeine jitters that a lot of them do, check out W Energy Drink. I mean, there's gamers worldwide that are using this stuff, and there's a reason why, right? It gives you that mental focus, that mental sharpness without giving you the caffeine jitters. So check it out. Want to give a shout out to all of our AFN connections and AFN in general. Horns Forward podcast. Again, we wouldn't be here, and you're right, Jackie. We are paying them bills, right? We would not be here without the support of our sister show, and I think that has helped us. This kind of helped us sharpen our skills to be better for Horns Forward when we did Horns Forward, and now we're just all kind of benefiting from that mutual relationship. So much love to our Horns Forward family.
Absolutely.
Shout out obviously to our friends over at Fuel Sports Network, to again, all the fans, KJ, Rig, Chris, Jeremy, even though he's an Eagles fan, just everybody. Guys, again, we couldn't do this without you. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to us just ramble on about sports stuff like we actually know what we're doing, and we're just two opinionated old guys. So that being the case, I mean, I'd love to be able to show the Statler and Waldorf picture, but there's probably some copyright infringement issues there, so we can't do that. But I'm hoping we see that at some point, right? So, BD, you got anything else?
I don't care if you win the Super Bowl. Suck it, Eagles.
I was not ready. All right, guys, much love. Appreciate you. Horns forward.
We'll see y'all in a couple weeks, guys.
Right there. Go Pack, go, baby. We'll see you guys soon. And suck it, Eagles.
And suck it.